By the time Redmoon House went into lockdown, the ballroom looked like rich people had finally told the truth. Blood on marble, broken glass under designer shoes, gold chairs overturned like something had run through the room with claws and bad intentions. Which, to be fair, something had. The burned man had vanished in smoke and screaming. 1 second, he had stood on the staircase smiling with that ruined face, calling Ralph boy like the word still had a leash attached to it. The next, Ralph had lunged for him, all claws and rage, and 3 vampires had thrown themselves between them like they had been bred to die for him. Ralph tore through them. It had not mattered. The burned man disappeared through a tear in the wards, leaving behind ash, laughter, and the kind of fear that did not leave when the lights came back on. Red alarms burned through the house. Not bells, not sirens. A low, terrible pulse that made my teeth ache. "Silver rooms," Isaiah barked, blood running down one side of his face. "Humans inside, now!" "I know where the bloody silver room is," Maya snapped, clutching the little girl to her chest like someone might have to kill her to take the child back. "We had the murder house tour, remember?" The girl shook silently against her. No tears. That made it worse. Rena appeared beside us, her hair perfect except for the vampire blood at her jaw. "Move, both of you." I looked back. Ralph stood in the middle of the destroyed ballroom with a silver wound bleeding through his shirt and murder in his eyes. But beneath it, beneath the alpha, beneath the monster, beneath the cold man who acted like feelings were something poor people invented, he looked shaken. Not weak, never that. Ralph Blackwood could probably be stabbed 50 times and still insult someone's bloodline. But something had cracked, and I had seen it. "Shannara," Rena warned. I forced my feet to move. The silver-marked room was hidden behind a panelled wall near the east corridor. Inside, several human staff members were already huddled together, faces tight with terror. A wolf stood guard by the door, eyes glowing gold, claws out. The child Maya carried whimpered when she saw him. The wolf immediately stepped back. That single movement nearly broke me. Monsters, I kept thinking. Then one of them did something almost gentle, and my brain had to start all over again. Maya sat the girl on a velvet bench and wrapped the curtain tighter around her shoulders. "What's your name, sweetheart?" she asked softly. The girl stared at the floor. Her wrist was marked with dried vampire blood. My stomach turned. I could still hear the burned man's voice. "You should have made sure I stayed dead, boy. Boy. Not Alpha. Not Ralph. Boy." "What was that?" Maya whispered. I leaned against the wall, trying to breathe like a normal person, and not like someone trapped in a Netflix documentary where the lions had political drama. "I think that was Ralph's dead stepdad." Maya looked at me slowly. "I'm sorry, did you say dead stepdad like that was a normal sentence?" "No." "Good. Because I was about to ask if trauma came with subtitles in this house." The door opened. I flinched before I could stop myself. Isaiah entered first. His gaze went straight to Maya, then the child, then the knife Maya had apparently stolen off a dead vampire. "Where did you get that?" "Gift shop." His jaw tightened. "That blade is not balanced for human use." Maya stared at him. "A man with no pulse tried to bite me tonight. Do I look like I give a shit about balance?" For 1 second, something almost tender moved across his face. Then Ralph walked in behind him, and the room changed. Every human went still. Even injured, bloodied and furious, Ralph carried authority like a weapon pressed to everyone's throat. His black shirt was torn open at the shoulder. The flesh around the silver wound looked angry and raw, refusing to heal. His eyes found mine. The bond pulled. I hated that it did. I hated more that part of me wanted to go to him. "Are you hurt?" he asked. I blinked. "That's your opening line? Answer me." "No, I'm not hurt." His gaze dropped, assessing anyway. My arms, my throat, my dress, every inch of me like he had the right to inventory damage. I should have snapped. Instead I asked, "Are you?" His mouth hardened. "It is nothing." "You got stabbed with werewolf kryptonite." "Silver is not kryptonite." "Oh, forgive me, I didn't have time to read the fucking brochure." Rena sighed behind him. Honestly, that was fair. Ralph ignored her. The house is sealed. No one leaves. No one enters. Maya raised her hand. Question. When you say no one leaves, is that kidnapping again or upgraded kidnapping? Maya, Isaiah said. What? I'm clarifying the hostage package. Ralph's eyes stayed on me. The burned man sent vampires into my house for you. A cold, ugly silence filled the room. There it was. Not accusation from him. Not exactly. But everyone else heard it how they wanted. I felt it from the wolf guard by the door. From 2 staff members who looked at me like I had walked in carrying a bomb. From the air itself. Danger had followed me. Or maybe it had been waiting for me all along. I didn't invite him, I said. No, Ralph replied, but he came for your blood. My throat tightened. Before I could answer, a sharp voice came from the corridor. That is what some of us have been saying. Christine stepped into view like she had been born during a photo shoot and raised by vipers. Her red dress had survived the attack better than most people had. Not now, Rena said. Christine's smile was small. Now is exactly when we discuss it. Children have been marked, council blood was spilled, vampires crossed Redmoon wards. Since she arrived, every buried horror beneath this house has woken up. Maya stood. And since you arrived, my blood pressure has gone up, but you don't see me making speeches. Christine ignored her. A Luna protects the pack. She does not draw predators to its door. I am not your Luna, I said. Her eyes slid to Ralph. No, you are his mistake. The room went dangerously quiet. Ralph took 1 step forward. Christine's confidence flickered. Good. Let it. But I lifted a hand before this turned into another bloodbath. Don't. She wants you to react. Ralph did not look away from Christine. Leave. Christine dipped her head just enough to insult him politely. As you command, Alpha. When she left, the room still felt poisoned. A healer came in after that and ordered Ralph to sit. He refused until Rena threatened to tell the whole pack he was being dramatic. Then he sat like the chair had personally offended him. The healer cut away his shirt. I tried not to look. Failed. Miserably. Ralph Blackwood injured was still unfairly built. Broad shoulders, hard chest, blood tracking down muscle like sin in liquid form. My brain, traumatized and apparently horny at the worst possible time, whispered, This is not the moment. Correct. It was not. The healer pressed something silver blue into the wound. Ralph's jaw clenched. Not a sound, but his fingers curled around the armrest so hard the wood cracked. I moved before thinking, stepping close enough that his gaze snapped to mine. Was he really your stepfather? I asked quietly. Everything in him shut. The pain disappeared behind the ice. That man died years ago. That's not what I asked. No, he said. It is not. Ralph, do not dig through graves you do not understand. His voice was low, but it hit like a door slamming. I should have backed off. Instead, because apparently I had a death wish and excellent lip gloss, I said, He called you boy. His eyes flashed gold. The healer froze. Isaiah went still near the door. Ralph stood, forcing the healer back. Enough! Blood soaked fresh through the bandage. I looked at it. You're bleeding again. And you are testing my restraint. Maybe your restraint needs exercise. For half a second, he looked at my mouth. The air tightened. Heat moved through fear, filthy and unwanted and real. Then someone knocked hard on the outer door. Isaiah listened through the pack link, expression darkening. Dave is at the front gates. Of course he was. Because tonight clearly had not finished being an asshole. Ralph's face turned lethal. Remove him. No, I said. His head turned slowly. No? I'll speak to him. The house is under lockdown. Then unlock one room. His stare was pure alpha command. You will not go near him. Careful, I said, stepping closer. You're starting to sound like you think you own me again. Something dangerous moved between us. Then Rena cleared her throat. As entertaining as this toxic little mating ritual is, the human man is shouting at armed wolves, and frankly, I give him 4 minutes before someone bites him." Ralph cursed under his breath. Dave was brought into the front receiving room with 2 wolves behind him and rain in his hair. His eyes found me and widened. "Shannara." "I'm okay," I said quickly. "You're not okay." He looked at my dress, the blood at the hem, Ralph's bandages, the wolves at the doors. "What the fuck is this? Dave, are you being held here?" Ralph said nothing, which somehow made him more terrifying. Dave pointed at him. "He's doing this, isn't he? He's got you scared." Maya, standing behind me with a blanket around her shoulders, muttered, "We are all scared, babe. Try to be more specific." Dave's face twisted. "I'm getting you out." "You can't. Listen to yourself." "No, you listen." My voice shook and I hated it. "You need to go home." His pain hit me like a slap. "So that's it? You disappear with him, and I'm meant to just accept it?" Ralph spoke then, cold as winter. "You are meant to survive it." Dave laughed bitterly. "Fuck you, Dog King." Ralph smiled. It was not nice. On better days. I stepped between them. Enough. Dave stared at me like he did not recognize me. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I didn't either. Before anyone could say another word, the red alarm stopped. The sudden silence was worse. Isaiah touched his earpiece. His expression changed. A message came through the west gate. We gathered in the war room beneath the house, because apparently my life now included war rooms. A phone lay on the table inside a sealed glass box. On its screen, a video played. Children, 5 of them, sitting behind glass. Thin, frightened, alive. My hand flew to my mouth. Then the camera turned. The burned man's ruined face filled the screen. "Dream girl," he rasped. "Come to the hollow gate, and I will return children." Ralph's growl vibrated through the floor. The burned man smiled wider. "Refuse me, and I will drain them one by one while your wolf listens." The video was cut to black. No one spoke. Then Ralph said, "No." I looked at the blank screen, seeing only small, terrified faces. My voice came out quiet. "He wants me. He does not get you. You don't decide that." His eyes burned into mine. "When every monster in London wants your blood, yes, Shannara, I fucking do." I wanted to hate him for that. Part of me did, but another part heard the fear buried under the command. That night, I did not sleep so much as fall into darkness, and the hollow gate was waiting. I stood beneath Redmoon House with blood running down both hands. The red door was open. Children cried behind the stone. The gate breathed my name, not Shannara. Something older, something hungry. My bloody fingers pressed to the carved symbols. The stone drank me in, and from the darkness beyond, the burned man whispered, "Open." The wards started failing just after dawn, not dramatically. Not with thunder or screaming or a convenient announcement over the rich werewolf house speakers. They failed quietly. A silver line carved into the hallway wall turned black, while I was standing in front of it with a mug of tea I did not trust and a headache that felt personal. I stared at the rune. The rune stared back. Then it pulsed. My tea dropped. The mug shattered against the floor, and every wolf in the corridor turned toward me like I had fired a gun. "Not me," I said quickly, lifting both hands. "I am just standing here being traumatized." Rena appeared from the drawing room in a cream silk robe, because apparently even during supernatural lockdown, she dressed like a woman who might blackmail royalty before breakfast. Her eyes landed on the wall. "Oh, that's bad." I looked at her. "Can we start banning that sentence in this house?" The floor shuddered beneath us. Deep below Redmoon House, something groaned. Not pipes. Not old stone settling, something alive enough to be hungry. Wolves came out of rooms. Guards moved faster than human eyes liked. Doors locked by themselves. Somewhere down the corridor, Dave started shouting again. "Shannara!" he yelled. "What the fuck is happening?" "Honestly," I called back, "at this point, your guess is as useful as mine." Ralph appeared at the end of the hallway, barefoot, black shirt half-buttoned, bandage wrapped across his shoulder, already stained dark with blood. His hair was messy, which should not have mattered considering the house was apparently having a magical breakdown, but my stupid eyes noticed. His gaze went to the ruined rune, then to me, always to me. "Where were you going?" he asked. "To find Maya." "No," I blinked. "Good morning to you too, sunshine. You stay where I can see you." That sounded dangerously like an order. It was. Then dangerously fuck off. Rena made a small choking sound that might have been a laugh. Isaiah stepped in behind Ralph, expression tight and controlled, though there was dried blood at his temple from the night before. "The lower wards are thinning," Isaiah said. "The hollow gate is pulling power from the old tunnels." My skin tightened at the name. The dream came back in pieces, blood on my hands, the red door open, children crying behind stone. The burned man whispering, "Open." Ralph's jaw hardened like he had felt the fear through the bond. "Move the human staff into the East Silver Room. Put Dave in the North Guest Wing under guard." Dave shouted, "I can hear you, you arrogant prick." Ralph did not even look in his direction. "Unfortunately," I folded my arms. "And me?" "With me." "No." His eyes sharpened. "This is not a negotiation." "It is if you expect me to walk into your bedroom like some obedient little hostage with lip gloss." A muscle ticked in his jaw. "The Alpha Suite has the strongest wards in the house," he said. "Silver runes, moon magic, blood-bonded defenses. If the burned man reaches through the gate, my room is the last place he will be able to touch you." "And you?" His voice dropped. "I am the thing he would have to go through." The corridor went quiet. I hated that my chest reacted to that. I hated that some soft, stupid, frightened part of me wanted to believe him. Maya came storming from the opposite hallway wearing yesterday's dress, trainers that did not match, and murder in her eyes. Isaiah moved behind her like an exhausted shadow. "Absolutely not," she was saying. "You are not putting me in a room with Mr. Emotional Constipation over here." Isaiah looked like he was praying for patience and finding none. "It is for your protection." "My protection needs snacks and boundaries." "You will have both." "Will I have privacy?" "Yes." "What if I need to pee?" Isaiah closed his eyes. Maya pointed at him. "See? Suspicious delay." Despite everything, I almost smiled. Then Maya saw my face and came straight to me. "You okay?" "No?" "Same." Ralph spoke over us. "Maya stays under Isaiah's protection." Maya turned slowly. "Do I get a say?" "No," Isaiah and Ralph said together. She looked at me. "This is why I don't date men with authority issues." Isaiah's expression did not change. "We are not dating." "Good, because I have questions first." "Maya," I warned. Too late. She looked Isaiah dead in the eye. "Do werewolves get fleas? Do you fetch? And is the whole full moon stamina thing a myth? Or should I be concerned for society?" Rena bent over laughing. Isaiah looked like he wanted the vampires back. Ralph pinched the bridge of his nose. "Enough." Maya leaned towards me and whispered loudly, "If I die, delete my search history." "I'm not touching your search history. Fake friend." 20 minutes later, I stood inside Ralph Blackwood's bedroom. Of course it was ridiculous. Dark wood, high ceiling, heavy curtains, a fireplace carved with wolves and moons, bookshelves that looked untouched by anything as cheerful as dust. Silver symbols lined the walls in elegant, vicious patterns. The air felt different in here, thick with old power and Ralph's scent. Smoke, rain, forest, danger, and one enormous bed. I pointed at it. "No." Ralph shut the door behind us. I did not speak. "You didn't need to. That bed started the conversation." His mouth barely moved. "I will take the chair. There is a floor." "There is. You can use that too." "I could." I narrowed my eyes. "Why are you being agreeable? It's unsettling." Because if I argue with you while the wards are failing, I may throw myself through a window. Don't threaten me with peace." He crossed the room and opened a drawer, removing a silver-edged dagger. He set it on the bedside table, handle facing me. I stared at it. Is that for me or because of me? For vampires. Can it kill you? His gaze met mine. If you are very lucky, and I am very still. Comforting. It will hurt me, he said. If that helps. It did. Not because I wanted to hurt him, because he knew I needed the choice. That bothered me more than it should have. He turned away and started unbuttoning his shirt. I immediately looked at the curtains like they had become fascinating. You could warn a woman. You have seen blood. I have not signed up for an alpha strip show. Then do not watch. Obviously, I watched. Just a little. The wound at his shoulder looked worse without the fabric. Angry, burned at the edges from silver. His back carried scars too, thin lines, old wounds, and one mark near his ribs that looked like fire had kissed him badly and left teeth. My voice came out softer than I wanted. Did he do that? Ralph stilled. For a second I thought he would shut me out again. Then he said, He did many things. The room changed, not colder. Heavier. Your stepfather, I said. He was never my father. I swallowed. But he was human. Yes. And that's why you hate us. His laugh had no humour. Humans do not need claws to be monsters. I could not argue with that. He wrapped fresh bandage around his shoulder with one hand, like pain was an inconvenience beneath him. My mother thought marrying a human would make life safer, he said. No pack politics, no challenges, no wolf violence. His mouth twisted. She was wrong. What did he want with children? Ralph's hand tightened on the bandage. There it was, a door closing. He used anything small enough to be controlled. My stomach turned. Ralph! No more! I wanted to push. I wanted the whole truth. But his face had gone brutally blank, and for once I understood that blankness was not arrogance. It was armour. Night came slowly. I lay on one side of the massive bed, fully dressed, dagger within reach, refusing to get under the covers like that would somehow make the situation less intimate. Ralph sat in the chair near the fire, one arm resting across his stomach, eyes half-lidded but not asleep. You're watching me, I muttered. I am guarding you. You look like a security camera with abs. His mouth twitched, almost a smile. Almost. Sleep, Shannara. I don't sleep well. I know. The words slipped between us, too quiet and too knowing. I turned my face away. Good, because I sleep badly and I bite emotionally. I noticed. I should have hated him. I still did, in pieces. But he stayed in that chair. He did not climb into the bed, did not use the bond, did not touch me because he could. He had power, strength, teeth, claws, and a whole house ready to obey him, and still he kept his distance. That mattered. Fuck, it mattered. Sometime after midnight, I woke to burning, not heat, writing. I sat up with a gasp. Black symbols crawled over my brown skin, rising along my forearms like wet ink under the surface. More curled over my wrists, my palms, my collarbone. They moved as if something invisible was writing me from the inside. Ralph was on his feet instantly. Do not touch me, I snapped, panic cracking my voice. He stopped, actually stopped. His eyes burned gold as he stared at the marks. What does it say? I whispered. The symbols shifted. I did not know the language, but somehow I understood. Promised daughter, blood key, gate bride. Then one line carved itself over my heart, sharp enough to steal my breath. The letters changed. This time they were in English. Open, Shannara.
Author's point of view.
By morning, the black writing had stopped moving. That did not make it better. It sat across Shannara's brown skin like the hollow gate had signed its name into her body and expected gratitude. Symbols curled around her wrists, climbed her forearms, and vanished beneath the sleeves of the black jumper Rena had forced over her before the council could see too much. Ralph had wanted no one to see anything. Ralph's first solution to most problems was isolation, threat, or murder, sometimes all three. Shannara had told him that if he tried to lock her in his room again, she would stab him with the pretty silver dagger and let fate mark that down as self-care. He had not smiled, but his eyes had dropped to her mouth for one dangerous second, and the room had gone hot enough to make her angry at her own body. Now they stood in the old judgment hall beneath Redmoon House, surrounded by wolves who smelled fear and called it politics. The Alpha Council sat in a half-circle of carved stone seats beneath a ceiling painted with a red moon. Ralph stood at Shannara's left, silent and deadly, his bandaged shoulder hidden beneath a black jacket. Isaiah stood behind him. Rena leaned against a pillar like the entire trial was an inconvenience interrupting better gossip. Maya was there too because she had refused to be kept away. "I'm not missing the next episode of Trauma Abbey," she had said. No one laughed except Rena. Christine stood opposite Shannara in a fitted dark green dress, her hair sleek, her smile sharp. She looked rested. That alone made Shannara want to throw something expensive at her. Elder Voss, the oldest wolf on the council, lifted his hand. His rings caught the firelight. "The human mate carries Faye's script," he said. "The hollow gate has marked her." Shannara folded her arms. "Good morning to you as well." Several wolves growled. Maya muttered, "Tough crowd." Christine's gaze slid over Shannara with polished contempt. "This is no longer only about a human being unfit for Luna. She is a blood key, a liability, a doorway wearing a woman's face." Ralph's growl rolled through the hall. The stone vibrated. Christine's smile faltered, but only for a moment. Shannara lifted a hand without looking at him. "Don't." The growl stopped, not because the council ordered him, because she had. The silence that followed noticed. So did the wolves. So did Ralph. His expression did not change, but something in his eyes burned hotter. Elder Voss leaned forward. "A Luna must be obeyed in crisis, not because she shares the Alpha's bed, not because he threatens death on her behalf, because the pack trusts her command when blood spills and the Alpha cannot stand." Shannara's stomach tightened. There it was. The next trap. "The second Luna trial," Voss announced. "The trial of command." Christine's eyes gleamed. Rena swore softly under her breath. Ralph's jaw locked. No, Voss did not blink. "You do not vote, Alpha Blackwood. If she remains under Redmoon protection as your claimed mate, she must prove she can inspire loyalty without a wolf's dominance." "I have not claimed her," Ralph said. The bond pulsed hard enough for Shannara to feel it in her ribs. "Liar," something inside her whispered. Christine stepped closer. Then this should be simple. Let her fail, wipe her memory, and send her back to whatever human life she crawled from. Maya straightened. "Say one more thing with that rich bitch mouth and I'll introduce your teeth to the floor." Isaiah caught her wrist before she moved. Maya looked down at his hand. "Beta boy, I know you are not restraining me while I'm defending my friend. I am preserving your lifespan," he said, "against my will." "Yes." Shannara looked at the council. "What do I have to do?" Ralph turned his head sharply. Shannara. She did not look at him. If she looked at him, she might see worry. If she saw worry, she might soften, and she did not have time to soften. Voss gestured toward the lower arena doors. 6 young Redmoon wolves will enter the trial floor with you. They have not sworn personal loyalty to you. Your task is to secure the marked child, identify the breach route, and command them to safety before the timer ends. Alpha Blackwood, his beta, and his blood kin may not assist. "So basically," Shannara said, "you want me to run a crisis drill with wolves who don't want to listen to me, while everyone watches and hopes I embarrass myself." Voss's mouth twitched. "If that is how you prefer to understand it, I understand perfectly." Christine leaned in. "Do try not to scream too much. It unsettles the pups." Shannara smiled at her. It was not a kind smile. "Careful, Christine. Your insecurity is showing through the couture." Rena made a strangled sound behind her hand. The arena doors opened. 6 young wolves entered. They were not children, but they were young enough to still look like they believed adulthood had rules. 4 men, 2 women, all tense, all watching Shannara like she was a test they had already decided to fail. Shannara walked toward them. Ralph's gaze followed every step. "What are your names?" she asked. The tallest one frowned. "Why?" "Because shouting oi, handsome with the attitude problem, might get confusing if more than one of you qualifies." One of the girls coughed, hiding a laugh. The tall one's mouth tightened. "Nico." "Good, you look fast and annoyed. Useful combination. You?" The girl who had laughed lifted her chin. "Talia." "You're watching the exits. You noticed the ceiling vents before the council finished speaking." Talia blinked. Shannara pointed to the others one by one, asking names, reading bodies, catching tells. Bren kept flexing his fingers, nervous but strong. Elise tracked every sound, good hearing. Malik favored his left side. John looked reckless enough to chase a decoy and get killed first. Christine watched with a bored expression, but her fingers curled at her sides. The trial began with darkness, then smoke, then screaming. Not real, Shannara told herself. The sound still scraped down her spine. A small figure appeared near the far side of the arena, curled behind a broken stone arch. The child was a glamour, but it shook and cried like something alive. Every wolf reacted. Their instincts pulled toward the sound. "Wait," Shannara snapped. Nico ignored her and took one step forward. "Nico," she said sharper, "if this was real, that child would be bait." He stopped. Barely. Good enough. Shannara scanned the floor. Broken arch. Blood scent too obvious. Smoke blowing wrong. 3 doors, 1 vent, a silver-marked panel near the wall. Talia vents. "Elise, listen under the floor. Bren, get ready to carry the child, but do not touch until I say. Malik, left door. John, I can fight," John cut in. "Fantastic. Fight your urge to be stupid and watch the rear." A ripple moved through the watching wolves. Maya whispered, "That's my girl." The first vampire glamour came through the smoke. John snarled. "Do not chase," Shannara ordered. "It's right there." "Exactly, which means it wants you there. Rear, now." He hesitated, then obeyed. Not happily, but he obeyed. Shannara moved carefully, heart hammering, eyes burning as pieces of the arena shifted in her mind. Not vision, not fully, more like the future brushing against her shoulder. Left door, blood, right door, teeth, vent, whispering. Beneath the floor, her breath caught. A flash hit, a different room, a real one. The west gate, a hand wearing a moonstone ring passing a red wax token to a vampire. A voice saying, "Ward 4 will sleep before dawn. The human girl will break the rest." Shannara stumbled. Ralph stepped forward before he could stop himself. Voss's voice cracked like a whip. "Alpha!" Ralph froze, murderous. Shannara pressed a hand to her temple and forced herself back into the arena. "Not now. No, exactly now." "Elise," she said, "what do you hear under the floor?" Elise swallowed. Chains, movement, not part of the glamour. The hall changed. The council shifted. Christine's smile disappeared. Shannara turned slowly toward the half-circle of elders. Her gaze passed over rings, collars, polished shoes, expensive faces. There. Councilman Darius Vale, perfect posture, silver hair, moonstone ring, too much clove oil at his throat, a scent trying to cover another scent, rot, ash, vampire blood. Shannara pointed at him. "He's working with them." The hall erupted. Darius rose. "This is desperation from a marked human." "No," Shannara said. "This is me having eyes. You haven't looked at the arena once since the smoke started. You already knew the breach route. You touched your ring when Elder Voss mentioned the west gate, and you smell like a spice cupboard fucked a corpse." Maya slapped both hands over her mouth. Rena whispered, "I adore her." Darius's face hardened. "Alpha Blackwood, control your mate." Ralph's smile was cold and terrible. "She seems to be controlling the room without me." Shannara's skin prickled. The black writing beneath her sleeves heated. Darius moved. Fast. Too fast for an elder supposedly offended by accusation. A silver needle slid from his sleeve as he lunged, not at Ralph, at Shannara. "Talia left!" Shannara shouted. Talia moved without thinking, striking Darius's wrist. The needle flew. Bren caught Shannara by the arm and pulled her back. John hit the alarm panel. Silver light flooded the arena. Darius screamed, not like a wolf, like something infected. Isaiah was on him an instant later, forcing him to the stone. Ralph crossed the room with death in every line of his body, but by then the young wolves had already formed around Shannara. Around her, not Ralph, not the council, her. The realization moved through the hall like a blade being drawn. Elder Voss descended from his seat and picked up the fallen needle with a cloth. Black blood smoked inside the glass tube. "Vampire venom," Isaiah said grimly. Darius laughed against the floor, blood on his teeth. "You think she saves you? She opens the door. She is already theirs." Ralph crouched beside him. "Say another word about what is mine," he said softly, "and I will remove your tongue in strips." Shannara should have hated the possessive word. Mine. She did hate it, mostly. Unfortunately, her traitorous body decided that sounded filthy in Ralph's voice, and chose that exact moment to remember he had slept in a chair all night rather than touch her without permission. Bastard. Voss looked at the 6 young wolves. "Did you obey her by force?" Nico glanced at Shannara, then at Ralph, then back again. "No," he said. Talia lifted her chin. "She saw the trap before we did." Bren added, "She kept us alive." John looked deeply annoyed by his own honesty. "She was bossy as hell, but she was right," Maya sniffed. "Put that on a plaque." The council had no choice. Voss faced the hall. "The second trial is past." No cheers came. Not yet. This was not love. It was not acceptance wrapped in flowers and applause, but several younger wolves lowered their heads to Shannara as she stepped out of the arena. Respect. Small, unsteady, real. Ralph waited for her at the edge of the trial floor. For once, he did not grab her, did not order her behind him, did not tell her she had been reckless, although the words were clearly fighting for freedom behind his teeth. "You commanded well," he said. Shannara blinked. Was that a compliment? Should someone call a healer? His gaze dropped to her mouth again. "Do not get used to it." "Too late. I'm emotionally attached to this growth." Heat sparked between them, sharp and inconvenient. Then the main doors opened. Dave stood between 2 guards, a rain-dark coat hanging from his shoulders, eyes fixed on Shannara, on her standing beside Ralph, on wolves lowering their heads to her, on Ralph looking at her like the whole room could burn as long as she walked out breathing. Dave's expression twisted. Christine saw it. Of course she did. She moved like poison poured into silk. And there is the human tie she refuses to cut. Tell us, Shannara, if Redmoon bleeds again, which male commands your loyalty? The alpha whose curse needs you, or the boyfriend you keep dragging to our gates? Dave flinched at the word boyfriend. Ralph went still. Shannara's eyes hardened. Dave is not a weapon for you to wave around because you're losing. Christine smiled. No, he is proof. Dave looked at Shannara. Are you choosing him? The hall waited. Shannara hated them all for it. I am choosing myself, she said, and I am done being dragged by wolves, vampires, councils, jealous women, or men who think fear gives them ownership. Dave looked like she had slapped him. Ralph looked like those words had cut him too. Good. Maybe they needed cutting. The council ordered Darius dragged to the lower cells for interrogation. The hall broke into violent whispers. Dave was escorted back toward the north wing, but Christine caught his eye as he passed. She did not speak loudly. She did not need to. You see it now, don't you? She murmured. He's taking her piece by piece. Dave said nothing, but his hands curled into fists. Later, alone in the guarded guest room, Dave stared at his phone until the screen flickered black. Then a message appeared from an unknown number. A video opened by itself. The burned man smiled through smoke and shadow. David, he rasped, you want to free Shannara from the wolf. Dave's breathing turned shallow. The burned man leaned closer to the camera. I can help you.
The traitor councilman lasted 9 minutes before he gave us the name. Darius Vale had sat on the Alpha Council for 23 years. He had judged pacts, ordered executions, approved bonds, broken alliances, and smiled with vampire venom sitting black inside his veins. 9 minutes. That was all his loyalty was worth once Isaiah put a silver hook through the infected wound beneath his ribs. I watched from the shadows of the lower cell while Darius shook against the chains and spat blood onto my floor. "The gilded vein," he rasped. "Beneath Soho, ask for Silas." Silas Vane, the burned man's lieutenant. The name moved through my wolf like the smell of rot. I stepped closer. Darius flinched. "Good." "Where are the children?" I asked. He laughed, weak and wet. "Everywhere, nowhere. He moved them after the social." My claws slid free. Isaiah said my name once, low enough to be warning and command. I ignored him. Darius lifted his head, eyes shining black at the edges. "You should have handed her over when he asked. The human girl is not a mate, Blackwood. She is a door." My hand closed around his throat. His laugh died in a choking sound. "Say her name," I said quietly, "and I will peel your tongue out through your teeth." His lips trembled. He said nothing. I released him before I killed him, which was a mercy he did not deserve and one I hated giving. The council would want him questioned again. Rena would want information. Isaiah would want strategy. My wolf wanted blood. I left the cell before blood became the only language I had left. Shannara was waiting outside the interrogation corridor. Of course she was. She leaned against the stone wall in black jeans, a dark coat, and boots that looked unsuitable for running, but excellent for kicking someone in the shin. The fey writing had faded from her skin, but I could still feel it beneath the bond, like ink under glass. Her eyes met mine. "You're going to the club," she said. "No, I didn't ask." My answer remains. She pushed away from the wall. I saw it. That stopped me. Isaiah came up behind me, silent as death. Rena followed with a silver flask in one hand, and murder dressed as elegance in her expression. Shannara rubbed her arms like the memory of the dream still crawled there. A blue neon angel with one wing, stairs behind a red curtain, a woman wearing gloves the color of fresh blood, music upstairs, screaming underneath it. Rena's face lost its amusement. "That is the gilded vein," she said. I turned on her. "You knew this place?" "I know many places. Unlike you, I occasionally leave the house without declaring war on the furniture." Not helpful. Accurate, though. Shannara stepped into my line of sight again, always in my way, always exactly where my wolf noticed her most. "I'm coming," she said. "No, you are not. Ralph." My name in her mouth did things to my restraint that no enemy had ever managed. It made my wolf lift its head. It made the curse beneath my skin burn like it had teeth. I hated it. I wanted it again. "You are what they want," I said. "Taking you into vampire territory would be stupidity dressed as bravery. And going without the person who saw the place in a vision is what? Strategy dressed as male arrogance." Isaiah made the mistake of breathing like he found that funny. I looked at him. He looked away. Shannara folded her arms. "Your refusal has never stopped me from arguing before. It should start. It won't." Rena lifted the flask. "I have a scent mask." I growled. "Do not help her." "I am helping you. There is a difference." She handed the flask to Shannara. "Drink that. It tastes like punishment and old herbs." Shannara sniffed it and gagged. "It smells like a witch's armpit." "It works." I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "If you come with me, you do exactly as I say." Her eyes narrowed. "Dangerous sentence. You do not leave my sight. You do not accept drinks. You do not speak bargains. You do not touch blood contracts. You do not bleed. So a normal night out in London then? This is not a joke. No, she said, and for once her voice had no humor in it. It's 5 children behind glass and a burned psychopath calling me dream girl. I'm aware. The bond pulled tight between us. Fear, anger, resolve, hers, mine, both. I should have locked her in my room, wards be damned. Instead, like a fool cursed by a goddess and weakened by a woman with a dangerous mouth, I said, "Stay behind me." She smiled without warmth. "I'll stay near you. Don't push your luck." The gilded vein hid under a human nightclub called Halo. Subtlety, apparently, had died with good manners. Blue neon stained the rain-slick street. Humans queued outside in short dresses, expensive trainers, cheap perfume, and no survival instincts. They laughed under umbrellas, held phones to their faces, and complained about the bouncer like monsters were not drinking beneath their feet. Shannara stood beside me beneath the shadow of a closed shop front. Her gaze moved over the line, the door, the security cameras. "There," she whispered. The sign above the alley showed an angel with one broken wing. Her heartbeat changed. My wolf noticed. I hated that it noticed everything about her. The warmth of her body. The sharp scent of fear beneath Rena's masking potion. The way she hid, shaking hands in her coat pockets like courage, was simply refusing to give fear a seat at the table. Isaiah touched the calm at his ear. 2 wolves at the rear exit, 1 at the roof line. Rena is inside. "Dave?" Shannara asked. Her voice shifted when she said his name. It scraped something ugly through me. "At Redmoon," I said. "For how long?" My jaw tightened. "Under guard." She looked at me. That wasn't my question. No, it was not. The bouncer at the door saw me and stepped aside instantly. His eyes flashed red for half a second before he lowered them. Good. Some predators remembered hierarchy. Inside, Halo was heat, bass, sweat, alcohol, and human stupidity pressed skin to skin under moving lights. Bodies moved without knowing what watched from the balcony above. Vampires lounged among them in designer clothes, smiling like hunger had learned charm. Shannara stayed close. Not behind me, never behind me, but close enough that my shoulder brushed hers when the crowd shifted. A drunk human stumbled toward her. I caught him by the throat before he touched her. His eyes widened. Shannara grabbed my wrist. "Ralph." He was in my way. He was drunk. He can be drunk elsewhere. I released him. He staggered back, suddenly sober enough to run. Shannara gave me a look. "You're terrible at blending in." "I am not here to blend in." "Clearly. You walked in like Dracula owed you rent." Isaiah coughed once behind us. The stairs were behind a red velvet curtain, guarded by a woman in blood-red gloves, just as Shannara had seen. The woman smiled when she saw me. "Alpha Blackwood," she purred. "How brave of you to enter neutral territory with such pretty trouble at your side." My claws pressed beneath my skin. "Open the door," I said. Her gaze flicked to Shannara. "Is she on the menu?" I moved before she finished breathing. 1 second she was smiling. The next I had her pinned to the wall with my forearm against her throat. The music above us swallowed her gasp. "She is not food," I said. Shannara's voice came from beside me, tight and furious, "and she is standing right here." I released the vampire, not because she deserved it, because Shannara was right. The woman's smile returned shakier this time. She pulled the curtain aside. Below Halo, London changed. The club beneath the club was older, quieter, more expensive. Red lamps glowed against black walls. Velvet booths curved like mouths. Silver chandeliers hung low enough to catch on the smoke drifting through the room. Humans sat with vampires at private tables, signing contracts in red ink, while witnesses watched with dead eyes. Some wore collars by choice. Some wore smiles that had been placed there by compulsion. On one side, witches traded bottled curses. On another, a fey blood dealer sold memories in glass beads. In the center of the room, monsters bargained beneath the pulse of human music. Shannara went still. I felt the exact moment she understood. The supernatural world was not hiding in London. It was feeding underneath it. A vampire approached us wearing a burgundy suit and black gloves. Tall, smooth, too handsome in the way poisonous things often were. Silas Vane. He bowed like theatre. Alpha Blackwood. I wondered how long it would take you to follow the stench. I smiled. His gaze flicked to my mouth, then away. Good. He had some survival instinct. Where is he? I asked. The burned man does not attend every meeting personally. That is what underlings are for. Isaiah shifted behind me. Silas's eyes moved to Shannara. The room sharpened. Every instinct I possessed turned violent. So, Silas murmured, the dream girl walks into the dark willingly. Shannara lifted her chin. The dream girl is getting very tired of creepy men saying that like it's foreplay. A few vampires laughed. I did not. Silas did, softly. Spirited. I see the appeal. My hand closed around his throat before anyone saw me move. Tables screeched back. Vampires rose. Isaiah moved to my left. Rena appeared at the bar with a blade already in her hand. Silas smiled through the pressure on his windpipe. Kill me, he rasped, and you lose the children. My grip tightened. His bones shifted beneath my fingers. Shannara touched my arm, not pulling, just touching. Ralph, she said, don't. The sound of my name in her voice dragged me back by the throat. I leaned close to Silas. Speak. His smile widened. A trade, simple, elegant. The girl for the 5 children, alive, unbled. Return to whatever weeping human families are still pretending the police will save them. My wolf hit the inside of my skin. I shoved Silas across the table so hard the wood cracked. You think I would hand her to him? I think your hatred of humans has always been negotiable. Silas adjusted his collar, still smiling. Except with children. Curious weakness for a monster like you. The room blurred red at the edges. He knew. He knew exactly where to cut. Your master touched children, I said. He put his filth near the pups. That is not a weakness. That is a law older than your grave. Silas tilted his head. And yet he raised you, did he not? The word boy rang through my memory in the burned man's voice. Fire, screams, a locked door, my mother's blood on the kitchen tile, my hands young and shaking, smelling of petrol and rage. Shannara was watching me, not with fear this time. With understanding I did not want. I hated that too. Before I could decide whether starting a war under Soho was worth it, a familiar human voice cut through the room. Shannara. Every part of me went still. Dave stood near the back entrance, rain in his hair and vampire glamour clinging to him like cheap cologne. His eyes were bloodshot, desperate, not fully compelled but touched. How the fuck had he left Redmoon? Isaiah's voice came through the link, cold. I will find out. Dave stepped toward Shannara. Come with me. She looked genuinely shocked. Dave, how did you... He told me where you'd be. Dave pointed at me. He told me the truth. Silas leaned against the broken table, delighted. I wanted his head. Dave's voice shook. Did he tell you, Shannara? Did he tell you he needs you to keep his wolf? The room went too quiet. Shannara's gaze moved to me. I had faced alphas, vampires, silver, fire, and the moon goddess's curse. Nothing had ever felt as dangerous as her silence. Dave laughed, but it sounded wounded. That's why he won't let you go. That's why he keeps you locked in that house. You're not his mate, babe. You're his cure. My wolf snarled. Not at the lie, at the truth buried inside it. At first, I had wanted the bond broken because she was human. Then I had wanted her safe because my wolf demanded it. Then because the burned man wanted her. Then because if I lost her, something in me would go with her that had nothing to do with the curse. But Dave was not entirely wrong, and Shannara knew it. Her mouth tightened. Ralph, I said nothing. It was the wrong answer. It was the only one I had. Silas clapped once, softly. Beautiful. Humans do make such emotional knives. Shannara turned on him. Shut up. Silas smiled. Gladly. But first you should know why my master has been so patient. I stepped toward him. He lifted one finger. Ah. Listen, Alpha. This part matters. His eyes fixed on Shannara with hunger dressed as revelation. The hollow gate is only one lock. Your blood, dream girl, is not made for one door. The fey writing beneath her sleeves flared black. I felt her pain through the bond and caught her before she staggered. For once she did not pull away. Silas's smile turned cruel. Her blood can open every sealed fey portal in London.
By the time we got back to Redmoon House, London had the nerve to look normal. Rain glossed the roads, buses hissed at curbs, people hurried to work with coffees in hand, completely unaware that beneath Soho, vampires were bargaining over children, and my blood had apparently been upgraded from unfortunate family trait to fucking skeleton key. Every sealed fey portal in London. Silas Vane's words had followed me out of the gilded vein like smoke. Ralph had not spoken once in the car. That was how I knew he was furious. Not regular furious either. Not his usual emotionally constipated alpha nonsense. This was silent, violent, one wrong breath and someone's spine was going home separately furious. Dave sat in the second car with Isaiah and 2 guards, alive, confused, possibly glamoured, definitely stupid. The second we entered Redmoon House, Dave shoved past one of the guards and stormed into the main hall like a man who had forgotten he was standing in a mansion full of predators. "I want answers," he snapped. Ralph turned slowly. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. "The human complication should be locked in the north wing," Ralph said. Dave's eyes flashed. "The human complication has a name, you kidnapping dog king." Maya, who had been sitting on the bottom stair wrapped in a blanket and holding a mug of tea, made a strangled noise. I looked at her. She pressed her lips together, eyes watering. "I'm sorry. Kidnapping Dog King is terrible timing, but the imagery is strong." Isaiah stood behind Dave, expression carved from discipline. He was touched by vampire glamour, not fully compelled. "I was not," Dave snapped. Rena appeared beside the fireplace in a red dressing gown, looking like she'd come to watch someone get stabbed at brunch. "Darling, you walked into a vampire club because a burned corpse sent you a text. You were at least seasonally manipulated." Dave looked at me. "Tell them to stop talking about me like I'm not here." I hated how familiar that sentence felt, because I had said versions of it since the night all of this began. I took one step forward. Ralph moved with me. I stopped and glared at him. "Don't." His jaw tightened. "Good." I turned back to Dave. "You want answers? Fine. But you're going to listen, not interrupt." His face twisted. "I've been listening, to everyone except you." That hit harder than I wanted, because he was not entirely wrong. I pulled in a breath. Vampires are real. Werewolves are real. Fae are apparently real too, because why should my life stop at one category of bullshit? Maya lifted her mug. "Amen." Dave stared at me like he was waiting for me to laugh. I did not. "The people who attacked the gala were vampires," I continued. "They're taking children, not randomly. They're looking for bloodlines, special ones." "Special how?" Dave asked, quieter now. "My family has something in our blood. Fae blood." Saying it out loud still sounded ridiculous, like I had joined a fantasy cult with good tailoring. "It gives me dreams, visions, warnings, whatever you want to call them. Dave's throat moved. Your nightmares. Yes. His anger faltered for half a second. I saw the old Dave then, the one who used to stay on the phone with me when I woke up shaking, the one who knew I hated sleeping in total darkness, the one who brought plantain chips when I was sad because he knew I preferred salt to sympathy. My chest hurts. Then Ralph shifted beside me, and Dave's eyes hardened again. And him? Dave asked. What does the Wolf King want with you? Ralph's growl rolled low. I held up one hand. Enough. Ralph stopped. Dave noticed. So did everyone else. Lovely. Another awkward supernatural power moment to add to my collection. The mate bond happened at the gala, I said. I didn't ask for it. He didn't want it. He tried to reject me. Dave looked between us. Reject you? Werewolf nonsense. Long story? Ralph's voice cut in, cold and rough. I tried to break the bond, even knowing it might cost me my wolf. The hall went quiet. I turned to him despite myself. His expression gave nothing away, but his eyes were fixed on me. Dave laughed once, sharp and wounded. Might cost you your wolf, so it's true, you need her. Ralph did not deny it. That silence was worse than any lie. My stomach turned. Dave stepped closer. Shannara, he's using you. That vampire was right. You're his cure. The ugly thing was, part of me had wondered the same. Maybe Ralph protected me because of the curse. Maybe his wolf wanted me because fate had put my name on some ancient supernatural contract. Maybe every time he looked at me like he wanted to ruin me and save me in the same breath, none of it was really choice. I swallowed the hurt and forced my voice steady. Maybe part of that is true. Ralph's face changed. Not much. Enough. But the burned man is using you, I told Dave. He hunts children. He wants my blood. He wants to open doors that should stay shut. If he told you he was helping me, he lied. Dave shook his head. He said Ralph was keeping you prisoner. He is, I said. Ralph's gaze snapped to mine. I looked at him. Don't make that face. You literally had guards outside my door. Maya muttered. Facts were presented. I turned back to Dave. But leaving with you won't fix this. The vampires already know my scent. They know my name. They know what my blood can do. This isn't something we solve by getting on the overground and pretending London makes sense again. Dave's eyes went glossy with anger. So you're choosing him? No. Then come with me. I can't. You can. I won't. The words landed between us like broken glass. Dave looked as if I had struck him. Ralph went very still beside me, but I felt the bond tighten. Satisfaction. Possession. A dark, vicious pleasure he tried to bury. I hated him for feeling it. I hated myself for feeling that heat answer somewhere low in my belly. Dave saw something in my face. His mouth twisted. Are you sleeping with him? Ralph moved. I stepped between them so fast my shoulder hit his chest. Ask me that again like I'm property being transferred, I said, and I'll slap the taste out of your mouth. Dave's anger cracked. Pain came through underneath. I'm scared, Shannara. And there it was, the truth beneath all the jealousy. I softened despite myself. I know. I don't know how to fight this. You can start by not trusting vampires with burner phones. Maya lifted one finger. Strong opening strategy. Dave stared at me. I love you. The room stopped breathing. I wished he had not said it there. In front of Ralph. In front of wolves. In front of the bond pulling tight around my ribs like it wanted blood for every word. I know, I whispered. Ralph looked away. That somehow hurt too. Dave waited. I'd not give him what he wanted. I need space, I said. From you, from Ralph, from all of this. Dave's face closed. Space. Yes. That's what people say when they don't want to say it's over. I don't even know what my life is right now. His laugh was bitter. No, you just know you're staying here. For now. With him. With protection. Ralph's voice was deadly soft. If she chooses to leave, I will not chain her. But if you drag her beyond my wards and vampires touch her, I will decorate my gates with your bones. Romantic, Maya said weakly. Dave stepped back, shaking his head. You don't even hear how insane this is anymore. Maybe I did. Maybe that was the worst part. The guards took him to the north wing after that. He did not fight them. He just looked at me once over his shoulder like I had become a stranger wearing my own face. Later, I found Maya in the east corridor with Isaiah. He was showing her the silver alarm panels built into the walls. She stood too close to him, holding a little silver trigger between two fingers like it might bite. So, if I press this one, every wolf nearby comes running? She asked. Yes, Isaiah said. And this one seals the doors? Yes. And this one? That one calls me. Maya's voice changed slightly. Just you? His expression stayed serious, but his eyes softened. Me first. She looked away too quickly. That is alarmingly specific, beta boy. You are alarmingly reckless. And yet here you are, assigning yourself to my button. I should have teased her. On any other day I would have. But something about the way Isaiah adjusted her grip gently, careful not to make her feel stupid, made my throat tighten. Trust did not arrive loudly. Sometimes it looked like a terrifying man teaching your best friend how to survive. That night, sleep dragged me under before I could fight it. I dreamed of Maya's room. Rain on the glass, her blanket twisted around her legs, a shadow outside the window, crawling down the wall like something spilled from the dark. Then the glass exploded inward. Maya screamed. Isaiah appeared between her and the window, half-shifted, eyes blazing gold. He took the first vampire through the chest. The second came from the ceiling. Silver flashed. Blood hit the floor. Isaiah dropped to one knee. Maya screamed his name. He turned his head toward her, mouth full of blood, and said, "Run!" I woke up screaming, "Isaiah!" Across the hall, Maya's bedroom window shattered. Across the hall, Maya's bedroom window shattered. I was out of bed before fear caught up with me. Ralph moved at the same time, all black clothes and violence, but I was already reaching for the door. "Behind me," he ordered. "Not tonight." I yanked the door open and ran straight into chaos. Maya screamed again, not a dramatic scream, not the kind from films where women threw their hands up and waited to be saved. This was raw, terrified, torn from somewhere deep inside her. Ralph hit the corridor beside me like a storm. The door to Maya's room was half open, wood split around the lock. Rain blew through the broken window. Glass glittered across the carpet. Isaiah stood between Maya and the window, half-shifted, golden-eyed, claws dripping black blood. One vampire lay twitching near the wardrobe with its throat opened. Another crawled along the ceiling like a nightmare with teeth. Maya was pressed against the wall in her sleep shorts and crooked satin scarf, clutching the silver alarm trigger Isaiah had given her. Her eyes met mine. Then the vampire dropped. "Down," Isaiah snarled. Maya threw herself sideways. Isaiah caught the vampire mid-air, but silver flashed in its hand. The blade drove into his side. He made no sound. That was somehow worse. Ralph moved past me. 1 second the vampire was on Isaiah. The next, Ralph had it by the back of the neck and slammed it into the floor so hard the boards cracked. "Ralph!" I shouted. Another shadow rose outside the shattered window. A third vampire. It smiled at me through the rain. "Door blood," it hissed. My stomach turned cold. I grabbed the nearest thing, a heavy brass lamp from Maya's bedside table, and hurled it with every bit of fear, rage, and fuck this night strength I had. The lamp hit its face. The vampire fell back with a screech. Ralph was on it before it could climb in. His claws tore through its chest. Black blood sprayed the window frame. Rena appeared in the doorway in a silk robe, hair loose, silver blade already in hand. "Well," she snapped, "this is fucking rude." Then Isaiah dropped to one knee. Maya made a sound I had never heard from her before, small, broken. She scrambled across the glass toward him. "No, no, no, don't you dare do dramatic dying shit on me, beta boy." Isaiah pressed one hand to his side. Blood soaked between his fingers, dark and steaming where the silver had burned him. "I told you," he rasped, "the alarm would work." Maya's lips shook. Now is not the time to flirt with customer feedback. His mouth twitched, then his eyes rolled back. Maya caught his shoulders with a panicked cry. "Isaiah!" Ralph crouched beside him, jaw hard. "Healer, now!" Wolves flooded the corridor. Everything smelled like rain, smoke, blood, and fear. I stood there barefoot in broken glass, staring at Isaiah's blood on Maya's hands, and something inside me cracked. My vision had not stopped it. It had only bought us seconds. Apparently, seconds were all fate could afford. The pack healer arrived within moments, a sharp-eyed woman named Celine with grey locks tied at the nape of her neck. She pushed Maya aside with more courage than sense. Maya shoved back. "Don't manhandle me. That's my emotionally unavailable wolf on the floor." Celine did not blink. "Then let me keep him alive." Maya froze. Rena pulled her away gently this time. Maya fought for half a second, then folded against Rena like her bones had given up. I looked down at my feet. Blood slid between my toes where glass had cut me. Ralph noticed. Of course he noticed. His head snapped toward me. Before he could say one controlling word, Christine's voice cut through the hall. "How many times must Redmoon bleed before we admit the truth?" She stood near the staircase in a silver dressing gown, every inch polished outrage. Behind her, several council wolves had gathered, drawn by the alarm and the scent of blood. Christine looked at me like I was the broken window. "Vampires came directly to the human wing," she said. "Again, they came for her circle. Her blood calls them. Her presence weakens us." Ralph rose slowly. Every wolf in the corridor lowered their eyes. Christine did not. Bold. Stupid, but bold. "If you finish that sentence," Ralph said softly, "I will make your family mourn you before breakfast." "Threats do not change facts, Alpha." Christine lifted her chin. "Your mate is not a woman. She is a key, a breach, a curse dressed in brown skin and attitude." My fear burned into anger so fast it almost felt good. I stepped forward. "If you want to call me dangerous, use your full chest. Don't hide behind perfume and politics." A murmur moved through the wolves. Christine smiled. There it was, the trap. "Then answer before the moon and blood," she said. "If you are no danger to Redmoon, prove it." Ralph turned on the council. No. Elder Voss appeared at the far end of the corridor, robes thrown over nightclothes, face grave. "The third trial has been invoked," he said. Ralph's growl shook dust from the walls. Voss looked at him. "After an internal breach and a vampire attack, the pack has the right to demand blood truth." I looked at Maya. She was kneeling beside Isaiah while Celine burned silver poison out of his wound. Tears ran down her face, but she did not make a sound. I looked at Ralph. His eyes were already telling me not to do it. That made my decision easier. "I'll do it," I said. "No," Ralph snapped. I turned to him. "You don't get to know me while my best friend is sitting in blood because vampires keep treating my body like public property." His face hardened, but he said nothing. The judgment hall filled before dawn. Wolves packed the stone seats, some still in sleep clothes, others armed like the house itself had become a battlefield. Maya refused to leave Isaiah, and Isaiah, stubborn bastard that he was, refused to stay unconscious. He sat near the front with bandages wrapped around his torso, looking like death had inconvenienced him. Maya sat beside him with one hand gripping his sleeve. I pretended not to notice. In the center of the hall stood a black stone bowl filled with moon water. Beside it lay a curved blade. Elder Voss faced me. "Blood truth cannot be shaped," he said. "It will show intent, fear, anger, loyalty, betrayal. If you mean harm to Redmoon, the moon will reveal it." Christine stood across from me, beautiful and cruel. Ralph stood at the edge of the circle, forbidden to interfere. He looked murderous. I picked up the blade. I gasped. Images burst into the air above the bowl. Me at the gala, terrified as Ralph's eyes glowed. Me behind a barricaded door with Maya, whispering that none of this could be real. Me looking at the wolves like they were lions behind invisible glass. Beautiful, lethal, not safe. Then Ralph rejecting me, my humiliation, my fury, my fear of him. The pack saw it all. I wanted to disappear. The magic pulled deeper. It showed me angry at Ralph for locking doors and making choices around me. It showed Dave's face when I told him I needed space. It showed guilt, confusion, grief for the normal life slipping out of my hands. Then it showed Maya, my terror when the glass shattered, my rage at the vampires, the children behind glass, the burned man smiling through smoke. My voice, somewhere inside the magic, said the truth I had not spoken aloud. I don't want Redmoon destroyed. I want the children found. I want Maya alive. I want my body to belong to me. The hall went silent. Then the magic changed. The silver light around my blood cracked open. Something old moved beneath it. Symbols rose from the bowl, black and gold, twisting through the air like writing made of smoke. Voss stepped back. Rena swore under her breath. Christine's smile returned slowly. There, you see it. The symbols wrapped around my cut wrist, glowing against my brown skin. Voss's voice lowered. Faye touched. The hall erupted. Dream blood, someone whispered. Gate key, another said. Christine pointed at me. She is not human, not wolf. She is a fucking doorway. Ralph moved then. Just one step. Every candle in the hall guttered. Voss raised his hand before Violence could answer. The trial asked whether she carried treachery against Redmoon. Christine's eyes flashed. And? Voss looked at me for a long moment. No treachery was found. The hall did not cheer, but it had no choice but to hear him. The third trial is past. I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt exposed, stripped open in front of monsters and judged useful enough to keep. I left before anyone could stop me. Ralph found me in the old library off the east wing, because apparently the bond came with emotional GPS. I stood near the fireplace, my cut palm wrapped in white cloth, my whole body still humming with moon magic. You should have told me, I said without turning. I know. His honesty annoyed me. Dave should not have been the one to say it first. No, I faced him then. At first, was that all I was? Your cure? His jaw flexed. I hated how long the silence lasted. At first, he said, I wanted the bond broken. That hurt, even though I already knew it. Then I wanted you protected because my wolf demanded it, he continued. Then, because the vampires wanted you. Then because you kept standing in front of danger with that reckless mouth and made me question every cruel thing I thought I knew. My throat tightened. And now? I asked. Ralph stepped closer, slowly, like he expected me to run. Now I would lose my wolf before I handed you to them. The air between us changed. Dangerous, hot, wrong in every sensible way. I should have walked out. Instead, I grabbed the front of his shirt and kissed him. Not because of the bond, not because of the moon, because I wanted to know what his control tasted like when it finally broke. It broke beautifully. Ralph's hands locked on my waist, lifting me against the edge of the desk. His mouth was brutal, hungry, but he still paused when my breath caught. Tell me to stop, he said against my lips. I didn't say stop. His growl moved through me. I hated how much I liked it. His mouth dragged down my jaw, my throat, to the place between my neck and shoulder. His teeth grazed my skin. My fingers tightened in his hair. One bite does not mean you own me, I whispered. No, he said, voice rough as sin. It means I belong to you too. Then his fangs pressed in. Fire tore through me. Not silver, not moonlight, black. I cried out as the mark burned across my skin, dark veins spreading from where his teeth had barely broken flesh. Ralph ripped himself back, horror flashing through his eyes. The door opened. Rena stood there, staring at the mark on my shoulder. Her voice came out thin. That is not wolf magic.
Author's point of view.
Rena's whisper had barely left her mouth before the mark on Shannara's shoulder split open with black light. Not blood, light. It crawled from the shape of Ralph's almost bite in thin, branching veins, spreading over Shannara's brown skin like ink spilled beneath glass. The library fireplace guttered. Every candle in the room went out at once. Ralph reached for her. "Shannara!" The bond between them screamed, then the floor answered. Far beneath Redmoon House, something ancient groaned awake. The hollow gate. Shannara grabbed Ralph's shirt as the room tilted around her. "What the hell is happening?" Ralph's arms closed around her. "Hold on to me." "I am." The shadows behind her opened like a mouth. Rena lunged forward, silver blade in one hand, the other outstretched. "Ralph, move her away from—" Too late. Fey symbols flared across the library walls. Not carved, not painted. They burned through stone, bookshelves, and air itself, all black and gold and hungry. The mark on Shannara's shoulder pulled. She cried out. Ralph's eyes blazed gold. His claws tore through his hands as he held her tighter. "No." The house shook. Somewhere upstairs, wolves shouted. Alarms howled through the corridors. Not red this time, but silver, old and wrong. Shannara looked up at Ralph, fear cutting through the anger between them. For one brutal second, there was no curse. No pact, no boyfriend line, no counsel, no pride. Only his hands on her. Her fingers clenched in his shirt. "Ralph." The shadow swallowed her. Ralph's arms closed on empty air. The silence afterward was worse than the scream. For 3 heartbeats, nobody moved. Then Ralph Blackwood lost control. His roar shattered every window in the library. Rena staggered back as shelves split and books crashed to the floor. The desk Shannara had been sitting on cracked straight through the middle. Wolves dropped to their knees in the hall outside, not from command, but from instinctive terror. The alpha's grief had teeth. Ralph turned toward the door. "Lower tunnels," he snarled. Rena followed because she was brave, loyal, and apparently incapable of making sensible choices when family was involved. By the time they reached the hollow gate, Isaiah was already there, one hand pressed to his bandaged side, face tight with pain. Maya stood beside him in an oversized coat thrown over her sleep clothes, holding a silver alarm trigger like it was the only thing keeping her upright. Dave had somehow made it down too, flanked by 2 guards and looking like a man who had stumbled into the wrong end of a nightmare. The hollow gate was no longer asleep. The red door beneath Redmoon House stood open. Beyond it, the stone arch pulsed with black light. Fey writing crawled over its surface, rearranging itself with every breath. The air smelled of rain, metal, flowers left too long in a grave, and Shannara. Ralph went straight to the arch. Isaiah moved to block him. "Alpha!" Ralph slammed him into the wall with one hand. Maya screamed, "Excuse me, he was stabbed less than an hour ago, you emotionally broken bastard." Isaiah grunted, but he did not fight back. Ralph's voice came out deadly quiet. "Move!" Rena stepped between them before Maya got herself killed by loyalty and mouth. "Ralph, charging into Fey magic blind will not bring her back. It will get you trapped." "She is already trapped." His eyes were no longer fully human. Dave stared at the gate, throat working. Where did it take her? Ralph's head turned slowly. Every wolf in the tunnel went still. Dave took a step back. Smart man for once. "The Fey Court," Rena said, before Ralph could rip his head off. "If the mark activated the gate, then it answered an older claim." Maya looked sick. "Older than werewolf soulmate bullshit?" "Yes," Rena said, "and Fey claims make wolf law look like a polite disagreement over dinner," the gate whispered. Not allowed, inside every skull. Shannara Imani Adiemi Baptiste. Ralph's claws dragged down the stone wall, carving deep lines. "Open it," Rena swallowed. "It opened for her blood." "Then use mine. It may not obey wolf blood. Use mine anyway." Before anyone could stop him, Ralph slashed his palm across one claw and pressed blood to the stone. The gate flared, then rejected him so violently he flew backward and struck the opposite wall hard enough to crack it. Maya flinched. "Jesus Christ!" Ralph rose at once, blood running down his hand, nothing in his face but murder. Dave's voice shook. "The burn man said something." Ralph turned on him. Speak quickly. Dave looked at the gate, then at Shannara's absence. Whatever jealousy lived in him looked smaller now under fear. He said the wolf could never open what the dream girl was born to unlock. He said if she crossed over, only 3 things could follow her. Rena's eyes sharpened. What 3? Dave hesitated. Ralph stepped closer. Dave swallowed. Blood, betrayal, and bond. The tunnel went silent. Isaiah, still braced against the wall, looked toward Ralph. That may be a route. Ralph's stare did not leave Dave. You trusted him. Dave's jaw tightened. I thought he was helping me save her. You thought a child-stealing vampire with a burned face was your best option? Dave's anger sparked through fear. And what were you? The better monster? You had her locked in your house. Ralph moved. Maya stepped between them. It was suicidal. It was also Maya. Both of you shut the fuck up, she snapped. Shannara is gone. Gone. So unless this is some magic tunnel where testosterone opens portals, I need everyone to stop measuring dick size and start being useful. Rena blinked. I do like her, Isaiah muttered. Unfortunately, so do I. Maya shot him a look, but her eyes were wet. Ralph's chest rose and fell once. Then he looked at Dave with pure hatred. You will tell me every word the burned man said, every symbol he showed you, every message. You will not lie. You will not hide shame behind stupidity. If you help me get her back, you live long enough to regret betraying her. Dave nodded once. I didn't betray her. Ralph's smile was terrible. Convince yourself later. The gate pulsed again. And somewhere far beyond it, Shannara woke beneath a sky with no sun. She lay on smooth black stone, her shoulder burning, her mouth tasting of copper and roses. For a moment she did not move. That was new for her. Usually fear made her talk. Anger made her stand. Confusion made her insult someone with confidence she did not feel. But the place around her stole the first words from her throat. A court stretched beneath a twilight sky full of drifting stars. No walls, no ceiling, just endless arches of silver-black trees bending over a floor of polished obsidian. Flowers bloomed from cracks in the stone, their petals shining like jewels and their centers full of tiny teeth. Music floated from nowhere. Beautiful. Wrong. Cruel enough to smile. Figures watched from terraces woven out of roots and bone, fae, not the glittery little winged nonsense humans put on birthday cakes. These were tall, elegant nightmares with eyes like old secrets and smiles sharp enough to cut skin. A woman sat on a throne made of antlers, glass, and living vines. The queen. Shannara did not know how she knew. She just did. The queen's hair flowed around her like spilled starlight. Her skin held the strange shine of pearl in storm clouds, her eyes black from edge to edge. She looked young and ancient at the same time, like time itself had once tried to touch her and lost a finger. Rise, promised daughter, the queen said. Shannara stayed on the floor for one stubborn second longer than necessary. Then she pushed herself up. Her knees shook. She hated that. Let me guess, Shannara said, voice rough. You're the customer service department for cursed portals? A ripple moved through the court. Laughter, soft, delighted, hungry. The queen smiled. She has teeth. I'm working on claws. Your wolf began the work for you. Shannara's hand went to her shoulder. The black mark throbbed beneath her fingers. He didn't mark me. No, the queen agreed. He woke what already owned the skin beneath. Shannara's stomach turned. Nobody owns my skin. The court went quiet. The queen leaned forward, amused. Humans say such charming things when they stand inside old bargains. I didn't bargain shit. Your blood did. The queen lifted one hand. The air split open beside her, showing images as clear as memory. A woman with Shannara's eyes stood in a London street centuries before cars, before glass towers, before electric lights. Smoke rolled across the city. A child lay dying in her arms. A fey creature offered a silver cup filled with glowing red liquid. Shannara watched the woman drink, watched the child gasp back to life, watched the fey smile. The vision shifted. Women from her family line, mothers, daughters, dreamers, some knowing, some terrified, some refusing until refusal became inheritance. The Queen's voice stroked through the air. Your mother's mother's mother carried our gift, a life saved, a debt made. One daughter from the line promised to the hollow gate when the red moon rose and the wolf marked what was not his to claim. Shannara's breath caught. You set this up. We waited. My dreams? Invitations. The word landed like a slap. Shannara shook her head. No, they warned me. They led you, the Queen said gently, to the gala, to the wolf, to the red door, to us. Anger steadied her better than courage ever could. So all this time I thought I was seeing disasters, and you were sending calendar invites? The Queen laughed, delighted. Yes, you people are sick. We are Fae. Same fucking thing, apparently. More laughter rolled through the court, but the Queen's smile sharpened. Careful, promised daughter. Your boldness entertains us, but entertainment can become pain very quickly. Shannara lifted her chin. Then get to the point. The Queen stood. The entire court bowed. Even the flowers turned their tiny teeth downward. Your blood opens doors that wolves sealed, vampires covet, and humans forgot. The burned man wants to spill you across London and make every gate scream open. Shannara's pulse hammered. And you? We want what was promised. I'm not a thing. No, the Queen said. You are a threshold. The black mark burned hotter. Shannara clenched her teeth, refusing to cry out. The Queen descended the steps of her throne until she stood close enough for Shannara to smell winter fruit and fresh blood. Your wolf will come, she said. Something in Shannara's chest twisted. Not fear this time. Hope. The Queen noticed and smiled like she planned to poison it. He will tear London apart. He will enter my realm with rage in his hands and guilt in his bones. He will believe love is enough because wolves are beautifully stupid that way. Shannara's voice came out low. Don't underestimate him. Oh, I do not. The Queen touched one finger beneath Shannara's chin, cold enough to hurt. That is why the price must wound him where he is strongest. Back in the tunnel beneath Redmoon House, Ralph's blood dripped onto stone. Dave spread burned messages across the floor. Maya stood beside Isaiah, refusing to leave. Rena read old Fae symbols with fear she did not bother hiding. The hollow gate opened 1 inch wider. In the Fae court, the Queen leaned close and whispered the sentence that turned Shannara's blood cold. Your wolf can have you back, but only when he gives up his wolf for you. The hollow gate did not open like a door. It breathed. Black light spilled through the crack beneath Redmoon House, carrying the scent of wet earth, old roses, iron, and something sweet enough to rot the tongue. The tunnel walls shuddered as if the estate itself wanted to crawl away from what waited on the other side. Ralph stood before it with blood running down his hand. Rena had carved 3 symbols into the stone floor with a silver dagger. Blood, betrayal, bond. Are we sure about this? Maya asked, voice tight. Because I just want everyone to understand that walking into a magic murder crack under a rich werewolf house was not on my vision board. Isaiah stood beside her, one arm bandaged beneath his coat, jaw clenched against pain. You are staying here. Maya turned on him. Say that again if you want me to bite you somewhere medically inconvenient. Maya. No. Her eyes shone, but her chin lifted. Shannara is my family. You lot can growl and posture all you want, but I'm not sitting upstairs drinking tea while she's trapped with evil Tinkerbell royalty. Dave stood behind them, face drawn, guilt sitting heavy on his shoulders. I'm going too. Ralph looked at him. The tunnel became dangerously quiet. You've already helped enough, Ralph said. Dave swallowed. The burned man used me. Fine, I was stupid, but I love her. Ralph's eyes flashed gold. Love did not keep you from walking into his hands. No, Dave said, voice breaking. But it's why I'm walking into yours. For a second, nobody spoke. Then Rena sighed. Lovely. Tragic masculine accountability. We can discuss emotional damage after we survive. She pointed to the symbols. The gate wants blood, betrayal, and bond. Ralph's bond gives us direction. Dave's betrayal gives it permission. Blood gives it a path. Maya stared at Dave. So the universe really said, bring the messy X? Apparently, Rena muttered. Ralph slid his palm again without flinching and pressed it to the first symbol. Dave cut his hand next, shaking harder than he wanted anyone to see. Isaiah did not bother arguing when Maya grabbed the blade and nicked her thumb. Isaiah's expression tightened. That was unnecessary. It felt emotionally relevant. The symbols ignited. The hollow gate opened. Ralph stepped through first. The Fey realm swallowed them whole. They landed in twilight, not evening, not night. A strange in-between sky stretched above them, full of stars that moved like watchful eyes. Silver-black trees twisted around an obsidian path, their branches bent low like they were listening. Flowers bloomed along the ground with tiny teeth at their centers. Maya froze. I hate nature now. Stay close, Isaiah ordered. I was already planning to attach myself to your good side. Don't rush me. Ralph did not look back. His entire body was fixed on one thing, Shannara. The bond pulled through the realm like a hook through his ribs. Fey magic tried to cloud it, sweeten it, tangle it in false scents and false memories, but beneath everything was her. Warm, furious, afraid, alive, he followed. The path shifted beneath them. Then the forest disappeared. Maya stood alone in Redmoon House. The hallway was empty, too empty. No wolves, no alarms, no Shannara. Rain tapped against the windows. A silver alarm trigger lay broken on the carpet at her feet. Maya, she called. No one answered. Then voices whispered from the walls. Only human, witness, burden, noise. They protect the mate, not you. She turned sharply, heart banging against her ribs. At the end of the corridor, Shannara stood with Ralph's arm around her waist. Rena was beside them. Isaiah stood behind them, eyes cold. Maya tried to move toward them. Shan? Shannara looked through her. The vision of Isaiah spoke. You should have left when you had the chance. Maya's mouth parted. For once, no joke came. The corridor stretched longer, pushing them farther away. Her hands trembled. Fear rose hot and humiliating in her throat. Then another voice cut through. Maya. Not the illusion. Isaiah, the real one. His hand closed around hers, warm and steady despite the blood soaking through his bandage. The hallway cracked like glass. You are not a burden, he said. Maya stared at him, breathing hard. He looked furious, but not at her. You are reckless, loud, impossible, and you test every disciplined part of me. A shaky laugh escaped her. This better become romantic quickly. His thumb brushed over her knuckles. You are also brave, loyal, and I see you. The illusion shattered. They were back beneath the silver trees. Maya blinked fast and looked away. That was rude. Your fairyland needs therapy. Isaiah did not release her hand. Ahead of them, Ralph had stopped. The path before him burned orange. Fire. Rena whispered, Ralph, don't. But the realm had already taken him. He was 17 again, standing outside a narrow house in East London, rain pouring over his face while flames climbed the windows from inside. Smoke filled the street. Screams tore through the night. His stepfather's voice came from within. Monster boy! Ralph's younger self stood with shaking hands and gold eyes. The fire had not started as justice. It had started as rage. Inside the memory, the burned man had not yet been burned. He was human then, handsome in the way cruel men could be, with blood beneath his fingernails and vampire marks hidden under his collar. On the kitchen table sat silver bowls, medical tubes and little shoes, children's shoes. Shannara appeared at the edge of the memory. Not physically, not fully. The Fey court had dragged her sight into his shame. She stood in her black dress beneath the twilight sky, the queen's cold magic around her wrists, watching Ralph's past unfold. She saw the boy Ralph had been. She saw his stepfather strike him, saw Ralph take it, saw him look toward a locked cellar door where children whimpered. Then she saw the moment vengeance took the wheel. Ralph did not only burn the monster, he burned the house. The flames spread too fast. A neighbor screamed from the adjoining building. Someone Ralph had not meant to hurt was trapped above. His young face twisted in horror when he realized rage did not stop where he wanted it to. The moon goddess's voice rolled through the memory. You destroyed evil, but you did not choose justice. You chose vengeance and called it honor. Ralph dropped to one knee. The grown alpha snarled, fighting the vision, but the boy inside it stood in fire with tears burning through soot. Shannara's chest tightened. For the first time, his hatred made terrible sense. It did not make his cruelty right. It did not excuse every time he had looked at her like being human was a disease. But she understood the wound now, the root, the rot. Ralph turned his head, and somehow he saw her. Shannara. Her name left him like a prayer dragged over broken glass. She stepped toward him. The Fey Queen's voice whispered around her. Look closely, promised daughter. This is what your wolf is beneath the crown. Fire, rage, ruin. Shannara looked at Ralph kneeling in his worst memory. Then she reached out. He's more than that. The flames recoiled. Ralph surged to his feet and grabbed her hand. For one breath, they touched. Real skin, real heat, bond snapping tight between realms. His fingers locked around hers like he would break the world before letting go. Then Dave saw them. He stood at the edge of the burning memory, watching Shannara reach for Ralph with terror and tenderness tangled across her face. Watching Ralph look at her like she was the only mercy he had ever been offered. Dave's expression caved in. Understanding hurt more than jealousy. He was losing her. Maybe he had already lost her, and he had been too busy blaming monsters to notice love leaving quietly. The fire went out. The Fey realm returned with a cruel little laugh in the trees. Ralph still held Shannara's hand. Then the queen appeared between them. She did not walk. She arrived beautiful and vicious, wearing a crown of thorns and moonlit bone. Touching, she said, but unpaid debts do not dissolve because wolves learn regret. Ralph bared his teeth. Name another price. I already named it. My wolf for her freedom. Shannara's grip tightened. No. Ralph did not look away from the queen. Done. No, Shannara snapped, voice shaking with fury. You don't get to sacrifice yourself and call it romantic. I am tired of everyone making deals over my body. The queen smiled. Behind the group, the obsidian path split open. Rena turned first. Where is Dave? Maya whipped around. He was right there. Isaiah's hand went to his blade. Ralph's face hardened. The twilight trees bent apart. Dave stepped out from the darkness, eyes glassy with fey glamour and grief. Beside him stood the burned man. His ruined face twisted into a smile. Hello, boy, he said to Ralph. Did you miss me?
Dave stepped out of the dark beside the burned man, and for 1 second, my whole body forgot how to work. Not because I was shocked, because some stupid, loyal piece of me had still hoped he would choose better. His eyes looked glassy, threaded with fey glamour and grief, but he was standing there, beside him, beside the monster who had stolen children, hunted me through nightmares, and smiled like my blood was already dripping into his cup. Ralph moved in front of me so fast the air cracked. The burned man laughed. Still hiding behind wolves, dream girl? My stomach twisted. Still hiding behind traumatized ex-boyfriends, barbecue face? Maya made a strangled sound behind me. Shan, please don't roast the undead terrorist while we're surrounded. Dave flinched. Good. I hoped it hurt. Shannara, he said, voice rough. I didn't know he'd... You didn't know the child-stealing vampire was bad news? My laugh came out sharp and ugly. What gave it away, Dave? The blood? The kidnapping? The villain monologue aesthetic? His face crumpled. He said he could get the children out. He said Ralph was going to use you, that the wolves would never let you leave. Ralph's growl rolled through the Fey court. The queen watched from her throne, amused, as if our pain was theatre and she had the best seat. The burned man lifted Dave's bleeding hand. Blood, betrayal, bond. You wolves do love old rules, but you rarely understand how easy they are to twist. Dave tried to pull away. The burned man tightened his grip until Dave gasped. He wanted to save you, the vampire said. Love makes humans so beautifully stupid. Let him go, I said. The burned man's ruined mouth curled. Give me your blood. The air split behind him. 5 children hung inside glass coffins made of smoky crystal, suspended between black roots. Their little bodies floated in red-tinted water, eyes closed, hands twitching as if they were dreaming something awful. My heart dropped through me. No, I whispered. Ralph went deathly still. The burned man looked at him and smiled wider. There he is, the boy who burned a house to kill one monster. Tell me, Ralph, how many children will you let die to keep one woman? Ralph's claws slid from his hands. The Fey Queen sighed. Do not mistake my court for your feeding den, vampire. I mistake nothing. The burned man bowed mockingly. I only know value when I smell it. Her blood opens London, every sealed gate, every forgotten door, every prison your kind left buried. The Queen's smile sharpened. Careful. Share the key, he said, or watch me spill it. Dave shook his head, horror finally cutting through the glamour. No, that wasn't the deal. Maya snapped. Oh, there was a deal? Fantastic. We're all so comforted by your paperwork with Dracula's crispy uncle. Isaiah caught her wrist, not to silence her, but to hold her back. The burned man dragged Dave toward a red arch that rose from the obsidian floor. It looked like the hollow gate, but wrong, reflected through dark water. Betrayer's blood opens from the human side, the vampire murmured. He slammed Dave's bleeding palm against the arch. Dave screamed, the Fey realm shook. Through the arch I saw Redmoon's lower tunnels. London, home, if a kidnapping wolf mansion counted as home now. The wards flickered. Wolves fought in the stone corridors. Vampires poured through a breached entrance like black water. And Christine stood beside the open ward line, beautiful, polished, rotten all the way through. She pressed a silver key into a carved moon sigil, her lips curved in satisfaction. A human will never be Luna of Redmoon, she said. The words reached us through the gate like poison. Rena swore viciously. That treacherous bitch. Ralph surged toward the vision, but the Fey Queen lifted one hand. Vines of black thorn wrapped around his arms and chest, stopping him mid-step. He snarled, fighting them hard enough that the court floor cracked. The burned man turned his attention back to me. Your blood, Shannara, enough to open every gate and wake everything the old world buried. And if I refuse? He looked at the children. My knees nearly gave out. Ralph's voice cut through the air. Take me instead. Everything went silent. I looked at him. No. He did not look away from the Queen. You named your price. The Queen rose slowly. Your wolf for her freedom. No, I said louder. Absolutely fucking not. Ralph finally turned his head. His eyes were gold, but underneath them was something human, something stripped bare. You asked me if you were only my cure, he said. My throat closed. If I wanted only the cure, I would keep my wolf and let them bleed you. His voice roughened. I would let the bond rot. I would let fate call me Alpha and still be nothing but a coward. Ralph, I choose you. The words hit harder than any magic in that realm. Not pretty, not soft, not easy. They were brutal, final, terrifying. I would rather crawl through life without my wolf, he said, than live with him after handing you to them. The Queen descended her throne steps, eyes bright with hunger. A wolf freely given, she whispered, tastes sweeter than a wolf stolen by curse. No! I lunged for Ralph, but thorns burst from the ground and wrapped around my waist. Ralph dropped to one knee before the Queen. My chest tore open with panic. The Queen placed her hand over his heart. Gold light erupted from his body. Ralph screamed. I had heard men scream before. I had heard vampires die, wolves roar, children cry through visions. Nothing sounded like Ralph's wolf being ripped from him. A shadow rose behind him, massive and black, with golden eyes full of rage. His wolf. Not fully physical, not fully spirit. It fought the Queen's hand, fought the Fey magic, fought for Ralph and for me. The bond between us stretched until I thought it would snap. Pain burned through my shoulder. The black mark flared, then sparked with threads of silver. Above us, a silver moon appeared in the starless twilight. A voice rolled through the court, old as judgment. At last, choice. The curse cracked. I felt it, like ice splitting across the sky. The Queen's smile faltered. The burned man's expression twisted. No, her blood first. He lunged toward me. Ralph ripped one arm free of the thorns and struck him hard enough to send him crashing into the red arch. But Ralph stumbled after the blow, weaker than I had ever seen him, blood running from his nose and mouth. My fearless, vicious alpha looked breakable. That scared me more than the vampire. The hollow gate widened. Through it, screams poured from Redmoon House. Christine's betrayal had opened the wards, but the Fey realm had answered too. Things began slipping through the cracks. Creatures with antlered skulls, glass wings, long fingers, and mouths full of needle teeth. Not wolves, not vampires, older nightmares. The children in the crystal coffins woke and started screaming. My vision slammed into me. I stood beneath a red moon with blood running down my hands. The hollow gate yawned open before me. Wolves died behind me. Maya screamed my name. Ralph reached for me too late. A Luna must bleed. Not a wolf, not a queen. A Luna. I came back gasping. Beside the Queen's throne lay a ceremonial blade, black-handled, curved, and waiting like it had known my name longer than I had. The thorns around me loosened. Or maybe I made them. I did not care. I grabbed the blade. Ralph saw me. Even half-broken, he tried to rise. Shannara! I looked at the open portal, at the children, at the monsters crawling into London, at the man who had just offered up his soul like I was worth the ruin. My hand tightened around the blade. Move first, I whispered, stepping toward the red light. Argue later. Ralph roared my name as I lifted the blade. Ralph roared my name as I stepped into the red light. The hollow gate did not feel like walking through a doorway. It felt like being swallowed by something that had been starving for generations. Heat licked up my legs. Cold teeth scraped down my spine. The ceremonial blade pulsed in my hand like a second heartbeat, hungry and patient. Behind me, the Fey Queen laughed. "Brave little threshold," she said. "Do you finally understand what you are?" I turned back once. Ralph was on his knees, thorns wrapped around his body, blood running from his mouth. His wolf hovered behind him in torn gold shadow, half ripped free, still fighting for him. Fighting for me. The burned man stood near the red arch with Dave trapped beside him, his ruined face stretched into that disgusting smile. The 5 children screamed inside their crystal coffins. And beyond the gate, in the lower tunnels of Redmoon House, vampires flooded through Christine's broken ward line. Everything wanted my blood. The Fae, the vampires, the gate, the old bargain. For the first time, I stopped asking why. I lifted the blade. The Queen's smile widened. Yes, a Luna must bleed. My hand shook. Then the vision hit again. Me beneath the red moon, blood on my hands. Ralph reaching too late. Maya screaming. Wolves dying. The gate wide open like a mouth big enough to eat London. But this time, I saw what fear had hidden. I had not been dead in the vision. I had been standing, bleeding, yes, dying, no. The hollow gate screamed, not in anger, in recognition. Fey symbols erupted around me, black and silver, spinning so fast they became a storm. My shoulder burned where Ralph's failed mark had turned into something else. The black shape spread down my arm, crawling, claiming, trying to write ownership into my bones. Promised daughter. No. My voice sounded small against the gate, so I made it bigger. My name is Shannara Imani Adeyemi Baptiste, I said, forcing each word through the pain. I am not your promised daughter. I am not vampire property. I am not some wolf prize with legs and attitude. The gate bucked under me. I nearly fell, but I locked my knees. I am human, I said. The word hit the realm like a slap. The Fae hissed. Very good. I am scared. I am angry. I make bad decisions under stress. I swear too much. I love hard. I bleed red. I belong to myself. The black mark on my shoulder cracked. Silver sparked underneath. The Queen descended one step. Careful, child. I laughed, and it sounded half mad. Everyone keeps calling me child until they need me to save their ancient arses. The red moon rose above the gate. Not in the Fae sky. Inside me. I am Fae-blooded, I said, but blood is not a leash. The gate trembled. Then Ralph entered the circle. He should not have been able to stand. He definitely should not have been able to walk. But Ralph Blackwood had dragged himself through thorns, blood loss, Fae magic, and his own damn near death, because apparently the man had never learned when to stay down. Get out, I snapped, voice breaking. You are supposed to be behind me for once. His mouth twitched, even with blood on it. I am terrible at obeying. You think? He reached me and nearly collapsed. I caught him with my uninjured hand, and the bond between us flared so sharply I gasped. His eyes were gold and ruined, and mine in a way that terrified me. I do not want you because of the curse, he said. Ralph, I do not want you because of the bond. His hand closed carefully around my wrist, avoiding the cut. I do not want you because my wolf chose before I did. My throat tightened. He lowered his forehead to mine. I want you because you walked into my darkness and told it to behave. Because you are impossible. Because you make me feel human and wolf and damned all at once. That is not the romantic compliment you think it is. It is the only honest one I have. I hated that tears burned behind my eyes. I hated that part of me wanted to melt into him when I was still angry, still hurt, still remembering every cold word he had ever thrown at me because I was human. I haven't forgiven everything, I whispered. I know. I'm still afraid of you sometimes. Pain crossed his face. I know. And if you ever try to make a life-changing sacrifice over my head again, I will resurrect you just to kill you myself. His thumb brushed my cheek. Understood. The gate roared around us. The Queen's voice cracked through the storm. Choose, little threshold. Bleed and close the gate, or keep your wolf and let London drown. I looked at Ralph. Then I looked at the children. Maya and Isaiah were visible through the arch now, fighting in Redmoon's tunnels. Isaiah moved like a blade despite his injuries, keeping vampires back, while Maya dragged one of the crystal coffins through the threshold. Come on, baby, wake up, Maya pleaded, slapping the glass with both hands. I did not enter supernatural hell for you to nap through the rescue. Rena was behind them, silver dagger flashing as she drove a Fae creature back into the crack. Christine stood near the broken ward line, her silver gown stained with blood that was not hers. Her eyes met mine through the gate. For 1 second she looked satisfied. Then Rena saw her. Oh, I am going to enjoy this, Rena snarled. Christine ran. Coward, Dave screamed. I turned in time to see the burned man drag him toward me, using him like a shield. Her blood is mine, the vampire snarled. Dave's eyes cleared. Maybe it was the children. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was finally seeing the monster without jealousy blinding him. He slammed his elbow back into the burned man's chest and drove Isaiah's silver alarm spike straight into the vampire's burned throat. The burned man shrieked. Dave looked at me, tears and terror on his face. I'm sorry. Then he shoved the vampire into the red arch. The gate took him. Not fully, not enough. The burned man's claws scraped the edge as the darkness dragged at him. His black eyes locked on mine with a promise of future horror. This is not over, dream girl. Unfortunately, I said, that sounds like my life now. I pressed my bleeding palm to the hollow gate. Ralph covered my hand with his. I choose him, I said, not because fate ordered it, not because a goddess cursed him, not because a wolf decided before I knew the rules. Silver light burst between our hands. I choose the bond because it is mine to choose. The black mark on my shoulder shattered. Pain ripped through me so deep I screamed into Ralph's chest. Then warmth flooded under my skin. The mark reformed, no longer black, but silver, bright, living, and shaped like moonlight braided through teeth. Ralph's wolf exploded back into him. The force threw his head back. Gold light poured through his eyes, his wounds, his open mouth. The shadow wolf roared once, massive and furious, before sinking into Ralph's chest where it belonged. A voice older than the red moon whispered through the gate. Power surrendered, returns cleansed. The queen staggered. The hollow gate began to close. Creatures shrieked as the crack dragged them backward. Vampires in the tunnels burst into ash where silver light touched them. The crystal coffins shattered one by one, and the children spilled into waiting arms. Maya sobbed while pretending not to sob. Isaiah held her and a child at the same time, looking like he would murder anyone who mentioned either. The gate slammed down to a narrow crack. Not sealed, not safe, but no longer open enough to swallow London. I collapsed. Ralph caught me before I hit the stone. "Shannara, I'm alive," I mumbled. "Don't start growling at death. It's embarrassing." His laugh broke in his throat. Back in Redmoon House, everything smelled of smoke, blood, silver, and survival. Dave sat against the wall under guard, alive, shaking and looking 10 years older. Christine was gone. Only a smear of blood near the ward line, and Rena's murderous expression proved she had ever been there. That worried me. Later, after healers, shouting, crying children, and Maya calling me a dramatic portal-closing heifer while hugging me too tightly, I finally slept. I dreamed of the hollow gate. A crack remained in the stone. From it stepped a man with silver hair, dark eyes, and beauty sharp enough to be a weapon. A crown of black flowers rested on his head. He smiled at me. "Imani of the first threshold," he said. My blood went cold. Then the Fey Prince looked past me, as if he could see Ralph through the dream. "Tell the wolf his mate was promised to us first."
Stay in my arms when the morning touches your face. I forget every heavy thing. Even silence sounds like music when you breathe next to me. Stay in my arms tonight. Let the world fade slowly. Your name feels like a prayer on my lips, like heaven finally knows me. Smile and my fears grow weaker, like shadows losing shape. And every dream I bury deep inside starts waking up again. Hold me close when the nights turn cold, when my strength feels out of place. Your touch is the only